So tell me about yourself and the history of your family.
My history of the family. I was born in Detroit there, and my dad moved to a farm in Michigan, a small town, Davison, Michigan. And as a baby, I'm on this farm. I got three brothers that are much older than me. And believe it or not, it was during the Depression. Things were tough. And my mother and dad would plow the field with horses. One day my dad disappeared. Nobody knew what happened to him. He took off. Left us 4 boys and my mother on a farm. And my brothers worked. They went to school in a small town. They used to have to walk to school. I think it was 3 or 4 miles a day. In the wintertime, it was cold. And my oldest brother, Joe, joined the U.S. Army back in the 30s. And became the Air Force, U.S. Air Force. He went into that and left my mother and us 3 boys. I'm a baby. My mother used to get out there and hook up the horses and plow the fields. She worked hard. And we didn't have enough money to pay the mortgage on the farm. Wouldn't you believe it? My old brother was maybe 15 or 16. He wrote the President of the United States, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, a letter. And a letter came back from Washington, D.C., saying that the Genesee County Bank of Davison, Michigan, would forego the principal. All you had to do was pay the interest on the farm. I mean, thanks to him, we saved the farm.
So the president contacted the bank? Wow.
Yeah. And believe it or not, my son Mike did a story on that for the school at Kirtland. And the school was so touched by it, they called a plane dealer. And the plane dealer came out and interviewed him and me. And Christmas morning on the front page of the plane dealer was my picture, my son, and the whole story about it, how it happened. Yeah. And thanks to President Roosevelt, we saved the farm. But then we moved to the city and left the farm there and we rented it out. And my brothers worked. They worked very hard, very young, but they worked. They supported the family. Never once did we go on welfare. Mm-hmm. We worked. We did things. We junked, looked for junk. We peddled. You know, we learned how to work. And that was my bringing up. And then my mother used to, believe it or not, she put on a pair of man's pants. Today, there would be nothing wrong with it, but back in the 30s, that was a no-no. And she had one of these push carts with ice cream, and she'd park in front of the AC spark plug in Flint and sell ice cream in the summertime. Well, she had to have something to do in the winter, so she put a small showcase on the top of the push cart and loaded it with candy bars. And she stood out in front of the AC in the wintertime and sold candy bars.
What is the AC?
It's AC is a spark plug.
Okay.
That's where they made spark plugs.
Oh, like
but
AC
during the
Delta.
war, they made machine gun bullets and everything, you know. Somebody said to my mother, Mom, they called her Mom, why don't you rent that little store across the street there that's sitting empty? She did. A small confectionery store. And We went in there, it's confectionery, everything. And
I'm sorry, did she make those things? Did she make the
No,
ice cream and the
no,
candy
no,
bar? Okay,
we bought it.
okay.
All my brothers were in the World War II, so they were gone. And here I was, 8, 9, 10 years old, with my mother that couldn't read or write. She was from Russia, and she didn't learn how to read and write English, so it was up to me. So at 8 or 9, I kind of ran the business for her. Went to school and ran it, and I learned a lot.
Your mom could speak English?
Oh, God, yes, yeah. But then after the war, some guy comes knocking on our door. He says, "Your mother here?" I said, "No." He says, "You know who I am?" I said, "No." He says, "I'm your father." I never met the man. I was a baby. What, 1, 2 years old or something like that, or 3 years old? I can't remember him. Now I'm 14 years old. And he's back knocking on my door. And my mother and him got back together. He was in Cleveland, Ohio. So my mother got rid of everything and came to Cleveland, Ohio. And my dad had a bar on 37th and Central. Worst neighborhood in the world. Down there, drunks. And he operated that bar for quite a while. We lived at 55th and Woodland, up above the theater, Hawkmoor Theater. We lived there. Anyhow,
Did your dad say why he left?
never. I never asked him either. No. He must have had a good reason. Some women you don't want to be with. I know that. Anyhow, my mother wasn't an easy woman either to live with. She was a tough Russian. Yeah, so. Anyhow, and that's where we lived at Hawthorne. Then they bought a farm out at Conneaut, Pierpont, Ohio, which is by Conneaut. Bought a farm. They thought they'd retire there. Being a farmer, you gotta work. Yeah. And by that time, I graduated from high school here. I had an insurance policy, and I cashed it in, and I took the money, and I started up like Good Humor, these ice cream bicycles. I knew the business, so I started that at 21. And then I bought some more, and I built a business like vending, street vending. And I had that for 5 years. It was very profitable, very profitable. And at 26, I got drafted. So everything was sold. And my mother had the money. When I come back from the Army, I had a new car.
I'm sorry, that was World War II, right?
No, it was after World War II.
The
Yeah.
Korean War?
No, there was no war. This was in 1957.
They had a draft and no war?
Oh, no war. They had a draft.
I didn't know that.
And I said to my mother, I said, "Mom, believe me, there's $11,000 there." I said, "Give me the money, I'm going to start another business." She says, "Show me what you can do without money like you did before." I said, "Okay." So I advertised a new car, and the guy comes to buy it. He says, $1,250 for this car. How come so cheap? I said, "I'll take the money, I'll make it back. I'm going to parlay it." So I sold the car, the brand new car. and I got $1,250. I started the piano business. While I'm in the piano business, my mother died. Money that she had was in her name and my nephew. She left it for my nephew to buy money, which is all right. And we used it for his college, my nephew.
That was one of your brother's sons?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, never bothered me, because I knew how to make money. So, I made it back many, many times. And that's how I got started in business. And you know what, I coined a phrase. Sometimes you have to lose in order to win. Now you think about that. I lost a brand new car. I lost a lot of money on it, but I ended up being a winner.
So how did your piano business end up here?
Oh, I started across the street. I rented a store, one store. Then I rented another store and another store.
Okay,
and
I'm going to
stores.
pause Mr. Kap because Nia's got to go to work, and then we'll continue.
No, I was saying that I was gonna ask a question.
Oh, okay.
But you kind
Oh, no, we
of
can both, that's not the, so we can both ask questions. That was the question I had in my head. Do you have
Well,
a
it's the
question?
next question on the sheet.
Oh, okay, but that's not what I was asking. That's about the business. Are you staying?
Yeah, for like 5 more minutes. I was gonna
Okay.
ask.
All right, so, but I do want to hear the rest of that. I'm just asking what's interesting to me. Okay, Mr. Kap, I was asking how you got started, how you ended up putting the business here.
Putting the business here.
Right.
I was across the street. I had 4 stores there. This place was vacant, and Evans Flowers. This is a late building. As a matter of fact, this building, outstanding building in Cuyahoga County. There's a plaque on the outside as the outstanding building in 1952, Chamber of Commerce. The plaque is out there. So Evans says, Kap, here's the key. You go and look at the place. See if you can use it. And I came here. The place was empty. The windows are all boarded up. And I took a chair and I put it in the middle. And I looked at this place. And I visualized that wasn't open up there. This wasn't built out. There was a refrigerator in the middle there. And I said, how will I get in the back with pianos? Anyhow, I visualized it. And he says, Kap, make me a ridiculous offer. So I thought to myself, I'm going to make him a ridiculous offer. So I did. You know what he said? That is a ridiculous offer. I said, oh, really? Well, anyhow, I upped the price and I ended up buying it. While I'm here, I still got across the street. And the owner of my building there, I had a refinishing shop, a carpenter shop, storage, 2 stores. The owner of the building sold me that across the street. He had $1,000 of my money. What happened was a fire broke out and burned my 2 stores down with everything in it. And he says, Kap, do you still want the building? He says, you can get the insurance money. I said, I don't want it. I was only buying it so I could keep it over there. So, I didn't. I ended up buying the building next to this next door and breaking through.
So when you say the building's burned, you're saying that there was property in that empty lot right across
There
there?
was 4 stores. 2 stores in the apartments above burned. Left 2 stores on the avenue. I didn't want it. I didn't want no part of it. I didn't want to be a landlord.
So how did you progress from becoming a community stakeholder in East Cleveland to becoming a resident? And why what do you believe was different then than now? And would you have stayed had you known that the community would develop in a way that it has?
Let's go back to your first question. Do you remember what you said?
What impelled you to live here as opposed to just having a business here?
Nothing matter with living in East Cleveland. It's not a problem.
Can you repeat that louder? Just,
There's nothing wrong with living in East Cleveland. It's not a problem, living here. It's not any different than living in Kirtland. Yeah. And I prefer to live here than Kirtland. Sure, I got a big house and a big yard, but I don't want to be a caretaker. I want to live here. That's very easy. I got spiral staircase going up to my apartment here. I walk over there to the next door, go up the staircase, I'm in my apartment. It used to take me a half an hour to drive through snow to come here. Not anymore. Now, your next question.
Do you believe that the development of East Cleveland over time is significant in any way, specific to you at least?
Well, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you didn't believe it, you'd be a fool. Anything you do for East Cleveland is a plus. East Cleveland was on its way down. Now they're lifting it up again. People walk by this place. They're proud of this place. We're proud we're still here. We stuck it out. Everybody else ran. Yes. So we stayed here. And we keep, I will not allow my tenants to turn it into a ghetto. I refuse to. I keep my building up. I own the block down the street. I keep that up. The library's doing a wonderful job. The theater's doing a wonderful job. This is the heights of East Cleveland. You didn't know that. So,
How do you contribute and interact with community members or community events?
not at all. Not at all. I do not contribute. I keep my place clean. I wash my windows once a week. I'm probably the only one in East Cleveland that washes windows once a week. I don't let it something get ragged, I keep my property in good shape. I'm proud. And I'm proud of what we do in this whole block. And I'm proud to see next to my building down there, they're building all those condos for the elderly. That's nice. That's my building down the street. And the library's doing a wonderful job. They keep the place clean. The lawn and the bushes look great. The East Cleveland Theater, they're hurting for money, but they try. So it's a decent neighborhood. You see what happened down the street here. They build a new hospital. So, yeah. Things will work itself back up again, I'm sure. Yeah. I remember who was moving in. People were proud to move into East Cleveland. I mean, it was a high-class neighborhood. And then all of a sudden, we had so many apartments, and the wrong crowd moved in. And it wasn't just blacks, it was white too. They were hippies. And gave us a bad name. But over the years, the good people moved out. The ones that moved in, they wanted to be in East Cleveland. Now they decided, we don't want to be here anymore. They're going to move to Cleveland Heights or somewhere, you know. And that's what happened to the good people of East Cleveland.
So how would you describe the residents of East Cleveland currently?
Well, you know what, I can't tell you, I don't know the residents of East Cleveland. But I know the good people that lived here and stayed here have died. They're gone. So we got a new crowd in East Cleveland. And they're a younger bunch. Yeah. The good old crowd is gone. They either died or moved out. So that's what we have in East Cleveland.
So, eventually everyone's gonna get older. So because we are facing, you know, an abundance of youth in East Cleveland, and like you said, there's a new generation here. People have moved out. What are some things you think that the youth could do to contribute to the city? Because ultimately, the residents are the ones who have to
You know
change
what?
the.
I can only think of one thing. Pride. Take pride in your city. You know, be proud of your city. You know, don't walk down the street and spit on the sidewalk or throw your paper down on the ground, you know, or cause rumpus or hang on corners or something. Be proud of your city, you know. Show the other cities that East Cleveland's a great city too, you know. Yeah. I try to instill pride in them. Yeah.
You gotta go?
Yeah, I have to leave in about
Okay.
13 minutes.
Yeah, hurry up.
Thank you for your time. I have to go to work.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye. The bus stop right there. See you later.
Thank
You're on your way, huh? Okay, dear.
So I'll finish up. Thank you, Nia.
Bye, Mom.
I love you too.
It's probably hot outside. It's cold out here, though.
Yeah.
Guess I better put this back on.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. I love you.
Bye.
She works at Subway.
Oh, she does.
Down by Case Western Reserve.
Oh, over
Did
there.
she make it?
Yeah.
Good. She'll be on time. Okay. Now, what time do you have to stop? Because we got started
Pretty
so
quick.
late.
My truck is gonna be back and I gotta
Okay. All right.
engineer it.
We'll wrap it up. So, Mr. Kap, what are your fondest memories of, well, actually, what are your earliest memories of East Cleveland, and what was it like then?
I remember back in 1960, we had so many businesses on the avenue, reputable, respectable businesses, restaurants, the best. The Rondini's down there, Owens Plantation, where Boyd Funeral Home is, you know. We had Forest Hills Avenue. You know where Forest Hills is down here?
That's my street.
Yeah.
That's where I live.
Going up the hill, Forest Hills. Terrace. Yeah. But going up the hill, do you know what that was there on Euclid?
No.
It was the gateway to Rockefeller's estate. You know, up the hill, past Terrace, on the right-hand side was Rockefeller's garages and barns and everything up there.
You remember them?
No,
Okay.
no. But we had fine restaurants on the corner there. It was rather nice. We had car agencies. We had so many car agencies. I would venture to say there's at least seven car agencies on the avenue selling new cars.
And so, what are some of your fondest memories of East Cleveland?
I can't think of it offhand. I always thought it'd be a great community to live in. The homes down the line here were big and beautiful. On the other side of Euclid, you know. And it was Money Row. Yeah. It changed. They're all dilapidated now, and looks like things are happening though.
What do you think? Well, you kind of hit on this, so if you think you totally covered it, that's okay. But what made it change? What contributed to the change?
You know, I don't know, dear. I don't have an answer for you. You know, I just don't have an answer. You know what? All the top-notch businesses deserted East Cleveland. They all ran. I'll never forget Leo Jackson. He was a councilman. He was a black councilman, and then he became a judge. And he made a statement, and how true it was. He said, "You whites keep running, we'll chase you all the way to Pennsylvania." Well, I don't like Pennsylvania, so I stayed in East Cleveland. So, all the others left East Cleveland. The businesses, they deserted us in this city. One car agency after another closed up and went out of business. The factories that we had closed up, went out of business, or moved to another location.
What kind of factories?
Oh, we had rubber factories over here on Doan, small factories. We had General Electric, which was our prime number one, with a couple thousand employees, and they're down to what, 400 or 500 now. So there you are, you know. General Electric paid the taxes to East Cleveland. They kept the city going. Yeah.
Have you ever been impacted personally by racism?
No, not at all. Not at all. I wouldn't let that bother me anyhow. I mean, no.
Do you think racism has impacted East Cleveland?
You know, to answer it, I'm sure it has in some way. Yeah. But, no, I'm sure it did. Yeah.
What ways?
I don't know. All the whites moved out. They don't want to live with the blacks. That's one of the reasons, you know. Crime has really went wild in the city. Yeah.
Have you ever been impacted by inequality of any kind?
I can't think of any.
Do you think inequality has affected East Cleveland?
You know, I can't answer that question because I don't know. Yeah.
Can you remember a time when East Clevelanders came together to fight for something?
No.
In what ways do you think that the institutions that are around East Cleveland have impacted the city? For instance, the ones in University Circle.
Wonderful. I'm so proud
What vision do you have for the city?
We'll never see it go back to what it was like it was before. I believe university will spread out even farther down the line here. We'll get rid of a lot of these homes on the side streets, tear them down. They'll build condos and apartments, and they need housing up there. This seems to be the only way they can move past Lakeview into East Cleveland here. So there's hope.
What do you think are some of the major issues that need to be dealt with in order to make the city better?
Boy, that's a sore spot. You know what? I think that the caliber of the politicians that we bring into office has a lot to do with it. People are usually here to make a name for themselves and see how much money they can make. And I don't buy that. Nobody's heart is in it. This is my city, I'm gonna work for it, you know. Like I told them before, I says, I think I'll run for mayor. They said, oh, you will not make it. I says, yes, I think I could make it. Oh, how would you make it? I says, well, I'll take all the money that they give me for being mayor and turn it back into the city. I don't need it. Oh, maybe that'll work. But how will you make money? I says, under the table, like all politicians. Yeah. So I told him, oh, you wouldn't do that. I said, oh, yeah? So, Awana, remember, he went to jail for 8 years? Mm-hmm. He got caught doing it. And there I'm telling I wouldn't get caught. He got caught. So that's the kind of politician we, you know, it's hard.
And
Somebody's got to go in it with their whole heart. And I don't see it. I just don't see it. I got to be honest with you, I don't like politicians. They all try to better themselves some way or bribe somebody or do something. No.
now, what would you be prepared to do personally to make the city better?
Well, let's see, I got $2 million I could give the city, but I'm pretty greedy about it. No, I don't know what I would do. I don't know. I'm at the age now where I gotta be honest with you, I don't care. I don't care, let somebody else go with it. I'm not going with it. I've been invited to join committees, the library and some of the others. I just don't care. I don't want to get involved. I don't give favors, I don't ask favors.
So that was actually my last formal question,
Good.
but if you could turn it a little bit this way, is there anything else you just want to say? This could be at the library, it's going to be in the library. It's going to be at Case's library. So if there's anything you want people to know about your feelings about the city or being here, anything we've discussed, this is your time.
Can I tell them, come down, keep me in business and buy a piano, please? I need your money. I gotta stay in business in this city. The only way I can stay is sell pianos too. Keep me alive, please.
That gives me, do you sell to school districts? Do you do that?
I sell it all over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the sales is very, very slow.
Mm-hmm.
Look at here, we're sitting here for a couple hours and the phone rang twice. Isn't that terrible?
Well, I'm turning this off. Thank you. I'm gonna look up Amazon Local to see if it's free. Because if it's free, maybe that'll help. I know some of the deals I've gotten, it's like, if I had the money, because they were really cheap. It wasn't, I just didn't want to do it right then. But it's stuff I would have gotten. So somebody looking for a piano, they can respond. Do you want me to get some shots of the store?
Yeah.
Okay, but you tell me what it is. You still...
No, I'm going back to work.
Oh. You just want me to take pictures?
Do what you want.
Okay, I'll do that.
You know what? I can't stand sitting that long.
Okay.
I have a hard piano bench.
Right.
Oh, my God. You want that consent form?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for mentioning. I'm glad you remembered. And I have two. One's for you to keep.
I'll sign it.
This is handful. This. I'm not taking this out. I just want to get rid of this SD card. Please get